So two black guys walk into a bar and...
Hey guys, guess what we're doing for movie night?
Hopefully it's seeing a good movie, right?
We're gonna see Slither on MTV. Censored. Presented by Eli Roth. Isn't that great? Forgive me, mommy!
I'm not gonna see that movie again! Ah!
It wasn't that bad, was it?
It was a perfectly logical explanation, and yet he found he couldn't seem to move from the spot. "Come on, Ken," he said aloud. "You have to check this out. An open window can lead to rain damage. Don't want a bloody great puddle in the middle of the master bedroom, do we?" He forced a carefree chuckle, more for his own sake than for any potential prowlers that might be lurking upstairs, and started for the hall. He walked around to the foot of the stairs and looked up to the landing above. Feeling slightly foolish, he called, "Hello?" There was no reply, so he added the requisite, "Is anybody there?" He listened. Somewhere in the house a clock ticked. He took a deep breath and began to climb the stairs, one step at a time. He walked with heavy steps, making his footfalls as audible as possible in order to warn anyone who might be hiding, however unlikely that was, that he was coming. When he reached the landing, he looked around. All the doors facing onto the short hallway stood closed. There was no way of knowing which of them had just banged shut. He checked the window at the top of the stairs. It was securely fastened. Then he turned and looked down to where the hallway ended in deep shadow. The door there was almost in darkness. He felt suddenly, inexplicably, afraid. He managed another carefree chuckle, though it sounded a little less carefree than the one earlier. "Ha! Ha! Don't be ridiculous." He turned to the door nearest him and laid his hand on the brass doorknob. Immediately he drew it back again. It was cold. Jesus, it was like ice. But this was July, and yet it really was cold up here, much colder than downstairs, which he now realized had been pretty cool as well. Damp? He sniffed and touched the wall. No, it had to be that open window. Find the window, close it, that'll be the end of the cold. He grasped the doorknob and opened the door. Inside was a bedroom. It was in keeping with the traditional style that the Colliers had applied throughout the house. A double bed filled most of the room. The headboard against the far wall was bordered on either side by two small tables, each with its own little reading lamp, and one with a telephone. Was it the master bedroom or a guest room? He couldn't remember exactly. He went over to the window. It was locked. He checked it for drafts, but there were none. Reluctantly, he turned to continue to the next room when the telephone rang. Ken looked at the phone as if it were a thing suddenly materialized from another world. Who the hell could be phoning here? A friend of the Colliers who hadn't heard the bad news? Or maybe it was for him, the office calling about something perhaps. No, they'd call his mobile. The phone continued to ring. Ken decided he may as well answer it. After all, he had every reason to be there. He walked over and picked up the receiver. "Hello?" For a moment, all he heard was a hiss. Then a voice came through, distant and vague. "Mr. Chase, how good of you to drop by." Ken recognized the caller as Richard Collier. He felt some of his tension leave him. "Oh, Mr. Collier, how are you? I've just arrived here at the cottage not 5 minutes ago. Did the office tell you I was here?
No, I haven't contacted your office.
Oh, well, just good timing then, said Ken with professional cheeriness.
No, Mr. Chase. I saw you arrive.
The line hissed quietly in his ear for a moment as Ken tried to make sense of what the man was saying. I'm sorry, Mr. Collier. Did you say you saw me arrive?
That's right. We all saw you arrive.
Ken suddenly felt a sense of unease rising through him like cold water. We?
Yes, we. Myself, my wife, and the others.
Ken suddenly felt the need to sit down. He lowered himself slowly onto the bed. But you're in Canada, Mr. Collier. You can't possibly have seen me.
Oh, I'm afraid that was something of a little lie, Mr. Chase. You see, I'm not in Canada, and I'm not Richard Collier. In fact, there is no Richard Collier. We made him up.
You... Ken struggled to comprehend. Well, who are you? Where are you?
Why, I'm downstairs. I'm talking to you from the phone in the lounge. And we've met before. I'm surprised you don't recognize my voice. We spoke so often last year when you sold us this house.
The receiver slipped from Ken's hand and landed softly on the bed, though the speaker was still just audible.
My name's Evan Collier, Mr. Chase.
No, Ken whispered.
Yes, you remember me surely. We got to be quite friendly at one stage. At least I felt that was the case. But perhaps it was just a professional courtesy on your part. You told us so much about this place. Everything, in fact, except that it was haunted.
No. Ken got unsteadily to his feet. This is a joke. He felt reassured as he heard himself denying the man. You're trying to scare me, Collier! Phoning from Canada or wherever you are! Playing some kind of a sick prank! What the hell for? To get some kind of pathetic revenge? Well, it won't work, you hear? He grabbed the receiver and shouted into it. You hear me, Collier? The dial tone buzzed quietly in his ear. Ken slammed the receiver back onto its cradle and gave a loud, contemptuous laugh. Thought you'd scare me, eh? Oh, well, you got that wrong, didn't you, mate, eh? Then he heard a footstep on the stairs. It was precise and deliberate, just as his own footsteps had been earlier as he sought to warn away any imaginary prowlers. Another step sounded, then another. Ken stared wide-eyed through the open door to where the stairs rose to the landing. The footfalls carried loud and clear as they grew unmistakably nearer. "Who's there?" shouted Ken. He got to his feet and took a few steps closer to the door. "It's me, Mr. Chase. Evan Collier." The voice was the same as the one on the phone, but now it wasn't filtering through the hiss of time and distance. It was coming from the stairs. "No," said Ken. "That can't be! That can't—" His voice trailed off as he saw a man rising slowly into view on the stairs. His face turned down as he came up, his sandy hair parted at the side and going slightly thin towards the crown. Ken recognized the hairstyle immediately. Hadn't he just seen it a short while earlier in the photographs downstairs? A wig. It's someone in a wig. Jim. Ken heard himself laughing. Oh, very good, Jim. You had me going there for a minute, mate. You fucking... Ken's words dried up in his throat as the man on the stairs stopped and looked up at him. It was Evan Collier. A guttural whine sputtered from Ken's throat. No. This isn't a place for the living, Mr. Chase, said Collier as he came up the few remaining stairs. He doesn't like to be disturbed. Ken took a step back. He opened his mouth and managed to whisper, Who are you talking about?
Hey guys, get what we're... Oh, shoot.
Nice.
Hey guys, guess what we're doing for movie night?
You fucked up.
Again?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
you
did.
stuttered.